content in this magazine could contain references of topics and difficult subject matter that may be triggering. Please honor yourself, inner knowing, and proceed with whatever help or guidance you feel is intuitively aligned. Welcome to Sovereign Magazine Podcast. I'm Nicole George, CEO and founder of Sovereign. I'm so happy you are here. We are the magazine, podcast, and community guiding 5 million women to their sovereign selves. From heart-led conversations to magical meditations, our inspiring guests will show you how they can help you step into your sovereign self. Are you ready to listen to your inner voice and step into your power? Then keep listening to hear all of the intuitive messages meant for you today. Hello. Today I have the privilege of reconnecting with Debra Driscoll, one of our amazing contributors. She is the founder of the Be Her Collective, which is a global movement activating women to become the heroine of their own story. And for over 25 years, she has guided women through spiritual development, intuitive healing, and embodied leadership. She not only hosts the Becoming Her podcast, but she also leads retreats in New York and in London. She lives in Tobago, where she and her husband are building a retreat space and raising a flock of sheep. She's also the author of A Series of Surrender, a memoir of grief. Welcome back, Deb.
Oh, I'm so pleased to be here. Thank you.
Yes, and for anyone who is familiar with our special segment, definitely stick around. This is going to be one you're not going to want to miss, especially since this is our January issue and in a new year. So definitely stick around. So today we're exploring our January new moon issue, I Am Sovereign. And in your article, Deb, How to Wear Your Crown, you invite women to remember that sovereignty isn't just a mindset, that it really is a full embodiment. For anyone who hasn't read your article yet, perhaps maybe share a little bit about it or what inspired you to write it.
I mean, there was a couple of points of inspiration, and it really came from my embodiment of my own sovereignty and framing my queendom, like for me, because we naturally say the kingdom. Well, where's the queendom? And I noticed that over the last few years, exclusively, I have been reading stories of women in history who have risen in leadership. And I didn't even realize, Nicole, that I had this desire. I was devouring these stories of these women, the women who claimed the throne in years gone by, England, or the Shield Maidens. There's so many amazing, beautiful authors who are bringing these women's stories to life. And it really inspired me to see all of us as women who are rising in our leadership and our identity and our ownership of who we are. So when the invitation came to I Am Sovereign, I was like, oh, it's all about the queendom. It's all about claiming queen without it needing to be about status or hierarchy or power over. It's deeply personal for me, deeply personal, and it's embodied. Yes, it's a mindset and it's an identity, but it's in your blood, it's in your bones.
Yeah, and in your past history, your past lives, right? All of that gets carried through. And so it ties into our sense of self-worth and our inner royalty, if you will, that perhaps we might not be able to express just yet, but there's a remembering within. And so you talk about ways that we can hold ourselves from head to toe. Maybe perhaps explain a little bit more about that.
Yeah, a lot of my work with women is about inviting them to move below the neck and the shoulder. Like the patriarchal posturing that has been our reality our whole lives, and our mothers and our grandmothers has really wanted all of us, not just women, but all of us up in the head, thinking about things. Whereas really there's so much that is in our heart space, we know that, but even deeper in your gut, in your hips, down on the soles of your feet. So embodiment is a huge part of the work that I do with women to actually claim their full body, but claim it as an intuitive tool, claim it as the place of their power. That was the head to toe. Because also, when we think about a queen, there's probably a lot of things we think about, but we can think about the crown, the weight of the crown. And this is one of the things that I noticed in the many stories now that I've read, is when we actually do claim our full power, it doesn't mean everything's all roses and we get to sit on the throne in an amazing gown. It means that we claim our next level of leadership, our next mission, challenge, endeavor. Like every one of these women, when they reached the throne, it wasn't easy to get there. And then when they got there, it didn't mean that life suddenly became easier. And so in order to hold our power, to hold the crown as a metaphor, we can't just be thinking of the head where the crown sits. We've got to think about holding the whole posture of it so that we have access to our full self, because sometimes we're going to have to make decisions that don't feel comfortable or that we want to make, like all the queens that I read about, like the whole life. Not just the pretty gold and the jewels and the gowns, but the whole delicious life of actually knowing who you are and claiming sovereignty, power within, and also your right to rule over yourself.
Yeah, and as I think about this, I can sense the collective energy going, oh, calling myself a queen. I don't think I could do that, right? We're so afraid to use that because it has so many connotations and stigmas around it. So, how does one balance the paradox between the softness that this queen could have and her power as well?
And I say choose what works for you. Choose what works for you, because the part of queen that works for me is these many women who have inspired me through their stories, and the idea of claiming queendom rather than the default kingdom. But really, I don't identify as a queen. I identify as a heroine, the main character of my story. And I think women, you can claim whatever feels resonant for you. Like, I was inspired to speak about these amazing queens that I have been reading about when it came to writing this article. And there's some women who I work with who queen is their vibration. And then there's some other women who I work with, and they are desperate for the full permission to call themselves a fairy.
Mm-hmm.
Birds, whatever it is that you want, call it whatever you want. CEO of your life, queen, fairy, heroine. But in my world, it's heroine. But I will say this, Nicole, when I speak to women about taking and reclaiming and owning the status of intuitive heroine, which means we've reclaimed our intuitive wisdom, we've positioned ourselves in the status as the main character of our story in our life, women trip over heroine. That feels far away for them. So I can understand how we get complicated about being the leader or being the queen or being the heroine. Because again, the patriarchal posturing, and also not just patriarchy, organized religion, capitalism, we could go on, has not wanted us to be in main character status. Just, it's all been designed for us to stay in the supporting role, to not claim the throne.
This leads us 2 steps to our sovereign self, which I'm so excited about because you're inviting all of us to claim, whether it's fairy, queen, heroine, you're inviting us to do this journaling activity today so that we can call in who we want to be as our main character. I love that word because that doesn't have any connotations, right? The main character of a story is always revered as usually a great person in the story, right?
Oh.
As we do this, I think everybody should take this opportunity to really begin to look at what your story looks like. What role are you currently playing? And I think Deb's going to take us on this journey. So get ready, get your pen, get your paper, maybe light a candle. If you're driving, pause, check the timing, come back to this a little bit later. It is time to rise. We are being called to stand behind independent voices, movements, and media that refuse to be owned. Sovereign Magazine has never spoken to an advertiser, a corporation, or a billionaire. We are a grassroots movement made for and funded by you. If you are ready to rise, to shatter ceilings, and to stand in your truth, do it with us. It's free. Hit the like button, subscribe, comment, share. Every click helps us reach more people around the globe, ready to remember who they are. Are you coming with us?
This is, to me, a delicious dive into possibility. That's what I want to invite. There's no right or wrong. And this actually comes from the pages of my journal. So I'll just start with just a little bit of story. It was about almost 2 years ago, and I woke up one morning and I could see her. I could see me in the fullness of my power, but she was far away. And that was the day that I realized I am her, but there is a separation between embodied Deb here and this woman who I can see in the distance, who is in her sovereignty, in her power. And so that's the day I decided I'm going to call her closer. I'm going to call myself closer to her. I'm going to call her closer to me. And I started to write to her. And to me, that was writing to the heroine, writing to the woman I knew was inside me that really wanted to grow into reality. And so I started very simply every morning in my journaling, just speaking directly to her. And then I found that expanded. I got to know her more. She got closer. We got to discover. And then months, and I want to say this clearly, this isn't something that you want to do within I'm going to journal on a Sunday and then I'm her by Monday. This is the journey of actually understanding yourself. It was a couple of months later that the journaling was I'm not calling her in, I am her. And it was so amazing to arrive at that moment, knowing I hadn't rushed or forced, that we unfolded and that we came together through the words and the pages and the mornings and the ritual. So this is the invitation to just be playful and curious and explore and witness yourself. But the way that you begin is that you begin by calling her in. And you may want to write at the top of the page, I'm calling in the queen, or I'm calling in the heroine, or I call myself as the main character of my story. And then you start to, it's almost like you're calling a friend and inviting them to come and play, or inviting them to come to dinner. I want to get to know you more. I'm going to make space to understand who you are. And then you just allow the space to share whatever it needs to share. And it might feel awkward at first, but just keep going. The next day, I'm back again. I'm interested in who you are. How close are you today? What can I know about you today? And sometimes when I was doing this, I would actually just sit and breathe and just let go of all of my thoughts about what I thought she would want. And I just really opened up. This is journaling. This is not anything I'm going to publish anywhere. There's no right or wrong. I'm just going to really open up. What do you want to say today? And it was amazing because not every morning, but enough mornings to count and make a difference. She had something to share with me. And some of that was letting go of some beliefs and thoughts about who I was. Some of it was about embodiment. One thing that she invited me to do was literally strength training, to actually start working the strength of my body as a woman. And so it just opened up this delicious unfolding and getting to know this woman who's inside me. She's actually not far away. What makes her far away was my fear, worry, my doubt, my concern, my beliefs, my lack of embodiment of believing that she lives inside me. And so the invitation for everybody is, if you want to meet her, begin to speak to her, make space for her, give her a voice. And I would start with, I'll give some direct journal prompts, because I think some people really like the grounding in what exactly am I doing? So I would start with just literally writing an invitation, whether you make the invitation to yourself or whether you want to say the queen of me or the heroine of me. I'm inviting you to come and be with me. I want to get to know you more. I will return and I will be curious. Please be with me. So you're just creating that opportunity, literally calling it out like a spell or an invocation. And you may have to repeat this for a few mornings in a row. And then what I invite people to do is follow your curiosity, follow what's coming up. If you're finding that some beliefs about your power are coming up, then you literally write and speak to that. The heroine inside me, today I want to talk about these beliefs I've had for a long time. Let's explore that together. And then each time that you write with her, listen to her, speak directly to her, she gets closer and closer. And then you realize that you're moving differently, you're thinking differently, your posture is literally different. And there becomes a moment that no one can know when it's going to be. But there's that magical moment where you're not calling her anymore, you are her.
This is such a beautiful gift. And so for anybody who does this exercise, definitely reach out to Deb and let her know what comes through, because this is a magical moment for each of us. And when it is witnessed, it's always nice to share. So Deb is in our community, community.sovereign-magazine.com, but all of her details are in the show notes as well of how to contact her via email and socials as well, because we want to know who you're meeting and how you are becoming the main character of your story. Thank you so much for being here today.
My absolute pleasure.
Thanks for listening. I'll be back tomorrow with another soul-led entrepreneur here to help you step into your sovereign self. Subscribe to our magazine and podcast and join our global community for all the magic. Details to connect with today's guest or join the movement are in the show notes. And if you enjoyed this episode, please leave a review. It helps us reach our goal of guiding 5 million women to self-sovereignty.